What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, if you are a Lions fan, then you will obviously know that the offense this season has been very stagnant. It hasn't been very good. It's been very vanilla, very predictable, and just overall hasn't been super effective. And, in today's video, I wanted to go over the offense, talk about why it is so predictable, talk about why it is so bland, so vanilla, and why it is so poor, and talk about ways that Darrell Bevell and this coaching staff can go about fixing the problem, go about fixing this offense, and make it so that it is at least a complementary unit, and make it so that it is at least good enough to win football games. Now, before we do get into talking about this today, if you are new to the channel and are enjoying this Detroit Lions content, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so, and it would help the channel out so much. So if you could do that, just take those 2 seconds it does take out of your day to hit the like and subscribe button. I would be greatly appreciative for it. But with all that being said, let's get into talking about why this offense is so poor and what the Lions and Darrell Bevell can do to fix it. Now, after a very good season in the 2019 campaign, where the Lions offense was really good, the Lions offense was, humming, it was working really good, it was putting them in positions to win games. A lot of Lions fans thought that this would be a good offense this year. They thought it would take another step forward. They thought it would be even better than last season, and they thought that, with the additions on defense and a better offensive game plan, a better offensive performance, this team could be really good. But this Lions offense in the 2020 season has been underwhelming at best, as they are 25th in offensive yards at just 2,451. They are 29th in plays ran at 437, which obviously means there have been a lot of short drives and a lot of 3-and-outs by this Lions offense. They are 16th in the NFL in passing touchdowns with only 13. They're 22nd in the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 7. And they haven't been a good offense. They haven't been explosive. They haven't been getting big plays. They haven't been scoring a lot of touchdowns. They haven't been putting up a lot of points. And they just really haven't been the offensive firepower. They haven't been that huge explosive threat. They haven't been the offense that a lot of Lions fans thought they would be this year. There's a lot of blame to go around for this. Obviously the wide receivers having a 7.2% drop percentage, which is one of the highest in the NFL, does not help the offense. Matthew Stafford having a bad throw percentage of 20.6 this year does not help. And of course the running backs and offensive line have their part to play as well. But the major contributor to this, the biggest impact to why this offense is so poor this year, is offensive play caller and offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell. Now, Darrell Bevell runs a very vanilla offense. He runs a very bland, very predictable offense that, just doesn't work at the NFL level. The Detroit Lions do not run RPOs. They've only ran 9 on the season so far. The Lions do not run any play action. They've only had 45 snaps of play action this season. They use very little pre-snap motion. They almost never use motion at the snap. They have no trick plays. They have no, flea flickers. They have nothing like that to make the offense exciting. They have nothing like that to, they have no eye candy for the defense to look at. They have nothing to take attention away from where the ball is going. They have no pre-snap motion. They have no movement at the snap. It's very bland. It's very vanilla. There's no motion. There's no trick plays. There's no excitement. It's very predictable. It's very bland, and that falls on Darrell Bevell. In the 2019 season, when this Lions offense was going to work, when they were a top 10 passing offense, even with a second and third string quarterback for 8 games, even with the limitations the Lions had as far as injuries last season, as far as Matthew Stafford missing half this season, this Lions offense, especially the passing offense, was a really good unit. They were one of the better ones in the NFL and had a top 10 passing game last season. And a big part of that was the trick plays, was the flashy stuff, was the, you throw it to a wide receiver, he throws it back and the quarterback throws it, or you flip it to Amendola on a pitch and he turns around and throws it to the quarterback in week 17. Like, a lot of the big plays, a lot of the excitement from the Detroit Lions offense last season came from trick plays. There's obviously that flea flicker versus Green Bay, I believe was the first offensive play of the game. They hand it to Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson flips it back to Stafford. It's a big play to Galladay down the field. Later in that game, they do play action. It looks like the same play, but instead of handing it to Kerryon, Stafford turns around immediately and throws a deep shot to Marvin Hall, and it's a big play. It flips field position, and it gives the Lions a lot of momentum. You think about the New York Giants flea flicker, where they toss it out to J.D. McKissick. J.D. McKissick turned around, throws it back to Stafford. Stafford bombs it to Galladay. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. The Week 17 play where, I don't even know what to call it, where Amendola came on a pre-snap motion. He was coming around, and David Blau pitched it to Amendola. Amendola looked like he was going to run, made the defense commit. All of a sudden, picks his head up, turns around, throws a dime to David Blau. Receiving touchdown, David Blau. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Last year there was pre-snap motion. There was excitement. There were trick plays. The defense could not key off on one thing because of a formation. They could not look at a formation or a player on the field and say, okay, because that guy is out there, we know what is going to happen. They had to be on their toes. They couldn't be as aggressive because as soon as they committed, Darrell Bevell made them pay. As soon as they committed that toss play, they throw it back to Matthew Stafford and he throws it to Galladay for an easy touchdown. As soon as those linebackers step up, as soon as those corners and safeties step down to cover Kerryon Johnson on the run, Kerryon flips it back to Matthew Stafford, and it is a big play over the top to Kenny Galladay. Last year, this offense had excitement. They had pre-snap motion. They looked really, really good. They took their shots. They were aggressive. They were a good passing offense and one of the best in the NFL last season. This year, that just doesn't happen. You're not seeing it at all this season. There's one trick play, and I guess kind of trick play, that I think the Lions ran this season, and that was where they put Jamal Agnew at Wildcat quarterback against the Atlanta Falcons, and he handed it off to DeAndre Swift on an outside run, and DeAndre Swift got tackled for a loss. That is the only trick play that Darrell Bevell has ran this season, and it went for a loss. And that wasn't even a trick play. It would have been the exact same result if Matthew Stafford had handed off the ball. It doesn't even really count as a trick play at this point. You look at this offense, right, and it's really, really sad when fans can call a game better than Darrell Bevell. And when fans can call what Darrell Bevell is going to do before it happens on TV, that is a sign that your offensive coordinator is not the right guy to be calling the plays. It is very, very predictable. We run the ball on first down, we run the ball on second down, and we throw the ball on third down. That is how the Lions offense works. If we get positive yardage, that's fantastic. If we don't, Darrell Bevell doesn't care. He's going to run it on second down, whether it's effective or not, and then he's going to rely on Matt Stafford and the wide receivers on third down to go out and make a play. That is not how you sustain an offense. That is not how you have an effective offense. As an offense, you need to run some RPOs. You need to run some play actions. You need pre-snap motion and motion at the snap. You need some trick plays to keep defenses on their toes so they can't key off on certain players and certain things. You have to make it so they can't fully commit to one thing because there's always that threat that they are going to pull out something you were not expecting. That element of the offense, that trickery, that creativity does not exist in Darrell Bevell's playbook anymore. It's not there. And that is why the offense is seeming to struggle. Now, it's not just on the passing game either. I think Darrell Bevell has a huge problem when it comes to committing to the run game. The Detroit Lions have passed the ball 246 times this year, and that's just pass attempts. That's not even times Stafford's gotten sacked. That's not even times he's gotten pressured and knocked down and, that's not any of those. That's not just dropbacks. That's just the time Stafford got the ball off. On the contrary to that, the Detroit Lions have only ran the ball 172 times, some of those being with Matthew Stafford on scramble drills. There's probably a good 5-10 plays where Matt Stafford has scrambled, so it's more like they've ran the ball 162 times with the running backs, and they've probably passed the ball closer to 260, 265 times. And even with Matthew Stafford's contribution to the run game, those 10-something carries, the Lions are still 30th in the NFL in rushing attempts on the season. And it's not because the running backs aren't playing well. It's not because lack of play. It's not because, the running backs aren't getting the yardage. Our running backs on the season average 4 yards a carry. They average 4 yards on every single carry they get, which is not bad. If you average 4 yards a carry, that is the goal you want to hit. As a running back, if you can average 4 yards a carry throughout your career, you are generally looked at as a pretty good running back. And the offensive line is doing their part too. The O-line is 8th in the NFL in yards before contact at 2.7, which means the running backs on our team average almost 2.7 yards per carry before they're even touched by a linebacker, before they're even touched by a defender, and that is really, really good by the offensive line. The offensive line has played really good trench football this season. I know they struggled a lot versus the Indianapolis Colts, but taking that outlier out of it because the Colts have a really good front seven, the Lions' offensive line has been playing really good. They've been opening holes in the run game. They've been, giving Stafford the time he needs. The offensive line has been playing phenomenal this season. The running backs average 4 yards a carry. DeAndre Swift averages almost almost 8 yards a touch, or he did before last game. You know, Kerryon Johnson, I think, averages 3.5 yards a carry or something, 3.5 yards a touch, something like that. Adrian Peterson is a little bit above that. So all of our running backs average about 4 to 3.5 yards per carry, but they're only getting the ball a few times a game each. You know, the Lions need to commit to the run game. And when they have committed to the running game, we've seen success. In the Arizona Cardinals game, Adrian Peterson had 22 carries, and although he didn't break 100 yards, he didn't have a fantastic day on the ground statistically, he made that defense commit to Adrian Peterson, and that opened up everything else in that game. In the Jacksonville game, I believe we ran the ball 39 times in that game to 31 pass attempts, and guess what? We ran the clock, we controlled the game, and we won that game very, very handedly. You know, in the Atlanta Falcons game, we didn't run the ball particularly well, but early in the game, we looked to run the ball often, and, you know, it didn't work, but we still committed to it. We still ran the ball a lot in that game, and, you know, as a result, the Falcons committed to the run. The Falcons were, you know, sending more bodies into the box, and that allowed Matt Stafford to make his plays down the field as well. You look at all of our wins, you look at what they have in common. We ran the ball in those games. We committed to the run game. We made that defense commit to Adrian Peterson. We made that offense commit to DeAndre Swift or Kerryon Johnson. And, you know, as a result, when that defense commits to the run game, that opens up so many more opportunities in your playbook. That opens up so many more opportunities for play action. That opens up so many more opportunities for RPOs. That opens up so many more opportunities for trick plays and flea flickers and, you know, reverses and quarterback and wide receivers throwing the football. And that committing to the run game and having just a little bit more creativity every single week would do so much for this Lions offense. I mean, Darrell Bevell has all the tools in his toolbox to have a successful offense. He has a top 10 quarterback. He has a phenomenal young rookie running back. He has a future Hall of Famer in Adrian Peterson that still has some good juice, still has some good gas left in the tank. He has Kerryon Johnson, who, you know, still has a lot of talent and still can do a lot of good things in the NFL. You know, he has Kenny Galladay, or he had Kenny Galladay for a majority of this season and hasn't done anything with it. He has Marvin Jones, a really good contested catch wide receiver. He has Jamal Agnew, a huge play, speedster, down the sideline kind of threat, can take any screen, can take any reverse to the house with a blink of an eye. I mean, he has TJ Hawkinson, a huge red zone weapon. You know, he has Jesse James, a huge red zone weapon and really reliable target. You know, he has all the tools in his toolbox. He has a phenomenal offensive line playing really good football, with the exception of last week, of course. But, you know, Darrell Bevell has all the tools in the toolbox. He has all the tools he needs to have a successful offense and a top 10 offense in the NFL. And Darrell Bevell needs to call games better. He needs to start being more creative. He needs to incorporate some more trick plays. He needs to commit to the run a little bit more, even if it's not necessarily the most effective thing on the day. You know, you can pass the ball more than you run the ball. I'm not saying they have to be exactly 50-50, but there is no reason that we should be 30th in the NFL in attempts with Adrian Peterson, DeAndre Swift, and Kerryon Johnson as our major three running backs. There is no reason we should be 30th in rush attempts with those three guys in the backfield. There is no reason that the Lions should be 25th in offensive yardage, be 16th in passing touchdowns, and 22nd in run touchdowns. There's no reason they should be 29th in plays ran in the season, because they have so many short drives and so many 3-and-outs. You look at the Detroit Lions and you say this offense is horrible. Yes, some of it is on the players. You know, the wide receivers have been dropping passes occasionally. Stafford has his occasional bad throw. He has his bad moments. You know, the running backs and offensive line have their mistakes. But overall, if you look at the entirety of the NFL season, everything falls on Darrell Bevell. There is no creativity in this offense. There is no RPOs. There are no play action passes. There are no trick plays. There's no creativity. There's no pre-snap motion. There's nothing that, you know, makes it so the linebackers can't commit. You know, if you see Adrian Peterson on the field, the defense is thinking run. The defense is run committing, because Adrian Peterson very rarely is a pass catcher. You know, Adrian Peterson, if he's on the field, you know it is probably a run, because that is all we put him on the field to do. If you see Kerryon Johnson, it is a pass play, because all we do with Kerryon Johnson is let him pass protect, which he is really good at, by the way, and we give him the occasional screen pass that, you know, he doesn't even usually do that well with, unfortunately. You know, sometimes he slips and sometimes he's just not patient enough. But, you know, we have all the tools in the toolbox, but the offense is so predictable. The offense is so easy to read that defenses know what is coming before the ball is even snapped. And when that is the case, that is when you have to fire your offensive coordinator. That is when you have to know and you have to realize that your offense isn't working, and it all at the end of the day falls on play calling. With all that being said, though, that is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. If you are new to the channel, as I said in the beginning, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It only takes 2 seconds out of your day to do so, and it helps the channel out more than you could know. But with all that being said, that is all I got for you guys right now. If there is Lions news before tomorrow, then I will obviously make a video letting every single person know. But until then, that is all I got for you guys right now. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you all tomorrow with more Lions content. Bye, guys.